This one comes from Best of Redditor Updates. I messed up really bad and said something awful to my boyfriend when I was drunk, and I don't know how to fix it. Trigger warning: alcoholism, emotional abuse, anger management issues.
Jeez.
Before I get started, I just want to say I know I fucked up and I am an asshole here. My boyfriend is a wonderful human being who loves me and only deserves the best. Okay, like I said, I, 29 female, have a wonderful, wonderful boyfriend, 28 male, and we live together. He had a bit of a rough time finding work, and he started a job at the post office where he works very hard and works 40 to 60 hours a week. I'm only saying this next part because it's necessary to the situation, but I make more than he does and work less hours than him, and we're struggling with some unexpected finances right now, and it's been causing some tension between us. Last night, I went to a bar with some coworkers, and I stayed out later than I should have and came home at 2:30 a.m. pretty drunk. My boyfriend was up waiting for me and told me he was worried about me, and I asked why he stayed up, and he said he told me he was waiting for me and I shouldn't be out that late on a night when I have to work the next day. I don't know why this set me off, but I got very angry and told him he had no right to be giving me job advice since he doesn't have a real job and can't even afford to pull his weight like a loser. He told me he thought I should go to bed, walked me over to my room, and helped me get my shoes and dress off, and I just got in bed and lied down to go to sleep. But the worst part was, as I was drifting off, I heard him crying in the bathroom. When I woke up this morning, he had gone to work, and now I'm at work hungover, which sucks. However, I have no idea what to say to him now. He should be home tonight, but I don't know what I can do at this point to let him know how sorry I am and how much I do admire him, and was just acting out of drunken stress last night. He loves steak and potatoes, and he's also a big movie guy, so I was thinking of making him steak and potatoes and renting a movie, but I just don't know. Any advice would be appreciated.
What a piece of shit. I got no fucking advice for you. Fuck off and die. I don't know.
Come on.
A little harsh, but like, I'm pissed. Fuck you. That's my advice.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. I need to de-stress here. I need stress. You're having financial issues, and just because you make more, your decision is that you're going to go out to the bar on a work night and go get shit-faced drunk, spend $100+ because drinks are $10 to $20 a piece, and you need 5+ drinks to get that drunk. So your bar bill is like over $100 regardless of where you are.
Oh, she said it was a work event, so we don't know if it was covered, but I don't know. Could have been.
Okay. Well, that changes things. If you got free alcohol,
I'm not sure. Yeah.
If you got free alcohol and you weren't spending money, I take that back. If you didn't and you spent that money, where the fuck are your financial issues? Doesn't matter if he's making less. If you guys are covering the bills together, whatever, and you feel like you're having financial issues, even though you make more, don't spend money at a bar. If the alcohol was free, let's work on that hypothetical. Alcohol creates loose lips. I like to believe that alcohol does not make you make up things.
Yes.
It just gives you the liquid courage to say the things that you are thinking.
Yep.
And if you are going to call him a loser while you are drunk, that means that's what you think of him.
Exactly.
In real time. I don't know about you. When I start drinking, that's why I like drinking on these episodes. It just gives me the liquid courage. I got loose lips. I just start saying what it is that I feel. I never think like, oh, I didn't mean it. Teresa's learned this. I'm a very big believer on you can't take your words back.
Yes.
Your mouth is like the toothpaste container. You squeeze the toothpaste out.
You've said this
You're
before.
not putting the toothpaste back in. Because that was the analogy they used in 5th grade when they were teaching you about how words hurt. Words affect people. Very big believer in that you don't say anything you don't mean. Beginning of our relationship, Teresa did this to me a couple times. She said some very hurtful things, and I had to let her know my ground rules, and I had to let her know I'm a person. I don't believe in this. If you are gonna, and like, your apology means nothing to me. I'm sorry, Teresa. You learned this a couple of times the hard ways, where like she said something and then she thought she could say sorry and it was gonna be better, and I had to let her know like it's not better. Your apology meant nothing to me. I don't recognize your apology because I don't believe that you can just say whatever it is that you want to say and an apology is going to make things better. Like, you've done what you did. You said what you said. Mm-hmm. If you're going to say sorry after you say something, don't say it in the first place. Think about it before you go ahead. And now Teresa doesn't talk shit as much.
Yes. Okay. Well, you see, like, you gave me grace.
I did.
You gave me a chance because I didn't know that was your boundary.
Yeah, a very hard boundary on that.
Now we're engaged.
We are engaged.
6.5 years later.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know either. But in this situation, when you're calling him a loser, you're not sorry for calling him a loser. You're sorry you let it slip that you think he's a loser, is what I mean.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I if you have these thoughts, it's because, like, if you're saying this while you're drunk, it's because you've had these thoughts sober.
Yeah.
And it's not okay.
Yeah. And, like, check yourself. Why do you make more money? Look at did your parents pay for you to go to university to get a degree, to get a bachelor or something like that? And he didn't have the same upbringing of yourself. And before you think you're so much better because you think you make more money than him, like, check yourself. What did he have to go through? Like, he's got this entry-level position at the post office because does he have a bachelor in something?
Yeah, you may have more privilege.
Yeah, like, you could have a lot more privilege than what he had. And that's the reason that you're making money. Did you have your rent paid for? How much did your parents support you? Now, I don't know what this person's situation is. Maybe they made it from rock hard. But, like, if I'm comparing myself to Teresa, I didn't have 4 to 6 years of schooling and be an accountant paid for by me. I went through 1 year of heavy equipment mechanics and I had to pay for that all by myself. So when Teresa and I, like, have to compare myself, like, I do think that Teresa had it a little bit easier because she had her schooling paid for. Yeah. Now, like, we make roughly the same amount, like, over the last couple of years and stuff like that. It's been averaging out. But, like, if there's ever a discrepancy like that, I'm going to be like, well, I didn't have it paved the way for me. Like, my upbringing was way 10 times harder than what Teresa had to go through. Teresa never had to move houses 17 times throughout her childhood or, move out and get kicked out and all of this stuff. And I had. So, like, you have no idea what this dude's been through.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Like, just because he's making less now doesn't mean he won't make less in the future. And, like, what did you do to get to where you are to making money and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So, like, this person's very judgy.
Yeah. And yeah, like, great points, because you don't always think about that stuff. Like, you may think highly of yourself because you're the woman and you're making more than your boyfriend. But yeah, you have to look at, like, so many different factors that could have went into that. Like, your success and maybe his, I wouldn't say not success, because he still has a job.
At least he has a job. He's working 60 hours a week in order to get there. Like,
100%.
Like, when you first met me, I was working 60 hours a week. I had a job that was 40 hours a week. They offered 4 hours of overtime. If they offered overtime, I did it. I always maxed out my overtime. I remember before I met you, I had a choice between 2 summer jobs. One was cutting grass for $15 an hour or something like that. Another one was like sprinkler systems for $17 an hour. The dude for $17 an hour, he's told me, I'm only ever going to give you 40-hour work weeks. You'll never get a single hour, an hour more. The dude cutting grass was like, yeah, our work weeks are about 50 to 60-hour work weeks. And I took that job knowing that the per hour was less, but knowing that at the end of the week, I was going to be making more because I was willing to put in that extra time. So I took a job that was willing to pay me a little bit less because I knew I was going to get more hours, and therefore I was going to have a bigger paycheck at the end. I was always willing to work harder. And this dude's working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if he is not having a job and he's not trying to get a job and you're paying the rent and he's loafing playing video games all day and he's not even trying to turn it into being a live streamer or making money off of that, and he's just playing for no fucking reason, go ahead and call him a loser and be ready to break up with him. Yeah. Like, this dude's working his fucking ass off, and you go get shit-faced drunk and come home when you know you have to work the next day. He's got to help you out of your clothes and everything, and you're going to treat him like shit?
I know. He seems great. Like, he didn't even blow up. Like,
yeah.
I would have started a fight.
He deserves to break up with you.
I know. 100%.
You're the breakup worthy person on this end.
Well, yes, we know that 100%. She knows she was the asshole.
Big fucking asshole.
I think it's honestly more commendable to those people who have to work harder. Like, it's actually, I respect people who have to work harder like that than people who have had it easy. Like, just because you're making more money doing less, like, he's working harder. He's working more hours. Like, that is more, like, you should have more respect.
Yeah, like, just because he's not getting paid as much doesn't make him a loser. He's putting in the more hours. If anything, he could call you a loser because you're only willing to put in your 40 hours. Why aren't you putting in another 15 or 20 hours into a side hustle in order to make more money? Why are you doing nothing with 20 hours of your work week while he's working 60-hour weeks? You're the fucking loser just because you make a little bit more of money in our terms of what we live in this 21st century economics. You're a fucking loser, bro.
What do you mean? As opposed to what?
Farming and making the wheat for the medieval times.
That's a whole other topic.
I just mean our 21st century, like our life that we live nowadays, we make money in order to live.
That's all you've known.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, humans, a long time ago, you didn't go to work to make money. You went to work to make food so that you could eat.
How is that relevant at all?
I'm just saying, like, that's the scale that we use nowadays. Money is the scale that we use.
Yes, that would have been assumed.
Well, back in the day, It wasn't about money. It was like, look, I got the carrots over there. I got the horseradish. I got the radishes. I got the corn. I got the cows and the chickens over there. How big your farm was, how much food you made back then. That was how you were wealthy.
Again, how is that relevant at all to this story?
It's not. I'm just talking about the scale that we use to measure.
Every single one of our listeners was assuming that this man was making money, currency.
Well, I like to relate back to those times.
Okay, sure. Okay, there's an update. So I've been meaning to write this for 4 days, but I have just been completely wiped of all emotional bandwidth. My boyfriend is working hard at his job right now and is racking up some overtime, so I figured I'd take a moment to post it. First off, some information I left out of my prior post. In case anyone didn't notice, I don't respond well to alcohol. I don't have a dependency on it, but my self-control and decision-making is really not good when I'm drunk, and I just get extremely vicious, and it brings out the absolute worst in me. On that same note, I had a group of coworkers who have been wanting to celebrate a promotion one of us got for the past 2 months, and Sunday was the first time any of us were free. So we were just going to have a Sunday afternoon chill that was going to end before 10. However, one bad decision led to another, and we all just collectively stayed until 2 a.m. with drinks. Second, I said what I did out of an annoyance/upset I had with him regarding some financial decisions over the past 2 years that we're now reaping the benefits of. Long story that frankly doesn't matter because it's not about that. I'm still a little unhappy about it, and I expressed that in a very unhealthy manner. I'm so proud of him for finding a job and trying to provide for us. And now for the update. I read through the comments all afternoon, and then I wrote down a map of things I wanted to say and waited for him to get home. Additionally, I got in contact with my old therapist, and he was able to squeeze me in for the following morning, so I called out of work the next day to meet him. My boyfriend finally came through the door, and I asked him if we could talk, and he said I could, but he had some things to say. I started by saying I had no idea what to say or how to express how sorry I am, except that I shouldn't have said what I said, and I love him and admire him for how hard he works. I also told him that I was going to stop drinking, and I had an appointment with my therapist the next day. I also emphasized how much I appreciated how he waited for me and helped me get to bed after I came home, and how he absolutely didn't deserve what I said. He told me that I actually covered the bases of what he was going to say. He said he was very hurt by what I said, but throughout the day he was thinking and said it was so out of character for me, he actually started to get worried. Both of his parents were alcoholics at one point of his life, but got sober, and he told me he was going to tell me I needed to quit drinking and see a therapist or anger management counselor, or else he couldn't stay in this relationship. I told him I thought that was a very fair and sensible boundary, and I would do my best to do whatever I could. Then he asked if he could be honest and asked me if I meant what I said. I told him I was being purposely vicious because it came from a place of frustration, but I was intentionally trying to upset him, so I said some terrible things. He said he'd love to talk to me about that place of frustration, but then wasn't the time for it. But he told me that he forgave me and was very happy and admiring me that I'm taking the right steps to make things better, and we had a lovely long hug. Then I had a really emotional appointment with my therapist, and I told him everything that happened and helped me map out my feelings and how to express them to my boyfriend. The appointment went great, and I have another next week, but he thinks I should look into seeing a psychiatrist because I may very well have an undiagnosed mental health condition. That's the next step, definitely. On Wednesday, I had a sit down with my boyfriend where I expressed the frustrations, and he told me the feelings were valid, and frankly, he still kicks himself he didn't start a new job earlier too, because then his credit card debt probably wouldn't be so high, and he talked about how he's always felt like he let me down with his financial decisions, being unemployed for such a long period of time. I won't get into anything further, but we had a really productive conversation. So yeah, we're taking steps and are openly communicating with each other, and it looks like we're going to be okay. We've been snuggling together at night, and this morning we even showered together before he went to work. I have some trust issues, so I'm still very anxious. He's going to come back and be like, wait, actually, no, I don't forgive you. But he's promised he's going to be open with me with how he feels, which he has been. I think we're going to be okay.
Wow. Okay. I'm like so mixed of feelings
I know.
right now. I'm like, fuck you. But I'm also like, oh, okay, that's good on him.
I know.
I'm happy that they're working it out.
Yeah. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but this makes me realize like how quick we are to say divorce, break up. But then like,
yeah, I was going to say like it's breakup worthy.
Yeah.
Is it necessary to break up? Okay, maybe not. I'm a big believer of once you say things, you can't take it back. So I personally would be a little more unforgiving in this situation. And, you know, like that's pretty big. But, you know, I'm torn on this one. I don't know what else to say. I feel like she's getting help. She's recognizing it. Like, yeah, like one thing I missed too, like he stayed up for her.
Yeah.
Like I would also,
I know.
Would I stay up for you?
No, but she was kind of annoyed that he did. She was like, why did you stay up? Like
he cares. He loves. He want to make sure that you're okay.
I thought that was a red flag too.
Yeah. Like there's been a couple times you've gone out and I've been like, it's 12 and I'm going into bed. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for me to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I think there was like Friday nights when I had to get up early on a Saturday. But like I'm still concerned. I'm still worried that you're coming home. But I know that you're not a big drinker. Like if I knew you were going out drinking... I'd have a much harder time like falling asleep before you got home. Mm-hmm. This dude sounds great.
Yeah, he does.
Sounds like he made a couple bad decisions financially,
and she has some resentment,
and that can be frustrating. And there is resentment there, and that's something that you gotta work through. Yeah, I'm torn because I'm like, it's breakup worthy? Is it breakup necessary? No.
I think she's taking the appropriate steps.
Yeah.
She's literally doing everything she can to like better herself.
She's a very toxic drunk.
Okay, that's another thing. She knew that. So
and
like
you still drank.
She still drank. But now she's saying going forward she's going to quit drinking, which I definitely recommend.
I feel like that's a red flag when the person that you have is very toxic when they drink.
Yeah.
Like, if you're, like, the best person when you're sober, but as soon as you drink, you're, like, a completely different person and you're super toxic, like, that's sketchy. Mm-hmm. That's a little weird, a little red flag.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Shameless US version. You never watched this show, but anybody watched Shameless? Frank, the one scene, Fiona becomes drunk. She's an angry drunk. She's a toxic drunk. Frank, fun drunk. Always good to be around drunk.
Yeah.
But Fiona starts just giving people shit when she's drunk, saying whatever she wants. Very toxic drunk. I feel like there's a difference there between being a fun drunk. You're a fucking alcoholic. You're drunk all the time, but like, hey, at least you're not a piece of shit. Like you're a piece of shit, as in like you're an alcoholic. You take advantage of people, but at least you're not like an angry, like toxic, rude, and mean. Sounds like this chick, like when she drinks, she like goes off her shit. And I feel like that's where I'm very strong of like, hey, like, once you say it, like it's said, like you don't get to take it back just because you say you're sorry. Just because saying sorry doesn't fix anything. It's a Band-Aid. It's rubbing a little bit of lotion on the burn that you already got. But the sunburn is there.
Sunburn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate to wear sunscreen. I'm always getting sunburn. But I feel like an apology is not the sunscreen. The apology is the aloe vera lotion that whatever they put on.
Yeah.
The aloe.
Aloe vera.
Aloe vera lotion that you put on. That's what an apology is. Your sunburn still hurts like fuck. The sunscreen is keeping your mouth shut.
Sunscreen is not getting drunk. That's the sunscreen.
Nothing wrong with getting drunk.
Well, for her.
Nothing wrong with getting drunk.
She knows, though. She has loose lips when she's drunk because she gets angry.
Still, nothing wrong with getting drunk.
I think if you know that you're an angry drunk, you should not be getting drunk.
Correct. I agree with that. But nothing wrong with getting drunk.
I'm not saying in general.
It's the shit that comes out of your mouth when you're drunk.
And she knows that that's the way she is.
Yeah.
The preventative, the sunscreen.
Her preventative, don't drink.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking
I
about the story.
agree with that. I concur.
What?
I concur.
I thought you said I cook her.
Fry her up like some bacon. I don't know.
You're a freak. Okay. That's all for me.
Let's move along.
Yeah.
That's it? You're done?
I don't know. How long are we at?
I've got 2 more stories, and I was thinking maybe we should add a funny one, but I feel like we're good now. I feel like we're in a better mood now.